Hi, I'm here with Shelby the church dog, and we want to pick up our conversation where we left off last week. So, the last 2 weeks we've been talking about what it means to be the body of Christ. So, if you haven't had a chance to check out those two conversations, I would encourage, if you have a little bit of time, to go back and do that. But today, we want to pick that up and talk about a dirty word, which is evangelism. And it is a dirty word to some. People really are very uncomfortable with the idea of evangelism. But at its core, the root word comes from the Greek word meaning good news. It's the same root word as gospel, although I could not possibly explain to you how we get gospel and evangelism from the same word. But we do, and they both mean good news at their core. The problem is, evangelism has really not been good news for a lot of people. It's come with a lot of bad experiences and a lot of hurt and a lot of people trying to tell you exactly what they think you should do with your life, or exactly how you should believe, or exactly who their understanding of God is, without a lot of space for where God is moving. And to me, I do think this ties in really closely with what we've been talking about over the last couple weeks. And that idea that you don't need to explain why you matter, because you bear the image of God, and that's more than enough. You don't have to explain why you need mobility aids. You don't have to explain why you choose to use the pronouns that you choose to use. You don't need to explain why you look the way you do. You bear the image of God. You do. And that matters. And that's good news. So this is where evangelism gets really, really interesting to me. Because if you bear the image of God, and I bear the image of God, and we bear the image of God together, that means that everyone that we encounter also bears the image of God. And so the question with evangelism is, what are we doing? How are we sharing good news? And I think it really comes down to the bigger question of, where is God? If we all bear the image of God, we should believe at the core of our being that God is with us, that God is already at work in the world and in our communities and in the lives of everyone else who bears the image of God. And so when we talk about evangelism, we're not talking about going out to take God with us. God is already where we are going. God is already at work in people's lives. And so we're not going out to say, hey, let me give you God. We're going out to do the work of watching for where God is moving, being amazed at how God is already at work in people's lives. And that's a beautiful, really exciting thing. The core work of evangelism isn't the work of telling. It's the work of listening. And it's the work of watching for where God is moving and being excited at how God is already at work in people's lives and helping people find what the good news is. Because the good news is that God is love, and that God already loves us. That God has already seen us and known us and claimed us and redeemed us. And so I think evangelism is maybe a dirtier word than it should be. I think evangelism is something that we should take on as a core practice of what it means to follow Christ, but not in the let me tell you something kind of way, but in the let me hear how God has already shaped your life and how you have already experienced love in the world. Because I think that we'll find something beautiful in the process of that. Not only will we be able to experience good news, but we'll be able to experience it in fuller, more beautiful ways. I'm going to let Shelby hop off, and I'm going to say, see you next week.